Today we're going to talk about how to save time in your bookkeeping business by automating some tasks. So I have 5 sections of your business that we're going to try to automate a little bit. So first, here's a quick overview of the sections. We have reporting, client onboarding, data entry, reconciliations, and communication. I started with number 1, which is my favorite, and that is reporting. How to be more efficient when you're sending reports to bookkeeping clients. So I have mentioned this before, but in QuickBooks Online, you can save a report and have it automatically sent to a client. So that is a really good automation if you haven't tried that before. And then of course, we want to be using those rules in QuickBooks Online in the bank feeds. So when you are categorizing transactions, sometimes it could take a little extra time to teach QuickBooks, this vendor is always in this category. But if you take the time to do that, that will save you a lot of time. And my third idea is one I haven't mentioned on the channel before, and that is using macros in Excel. So this was a really big thing in my first job right out of college. We used a lot of spreadsheets, and I got good at spreadsheets and specifically using macros. And if you don't know what a macro is, basically it's a way to record a bunch of movements in Excel. So maybe every time you download a spreadsheet for a client, you do the same 10 actions. So you delete column C, you filter it, you organize by highest to lowest value, and then you highlight like 3 things. All right, next one is client onboarding. And for me, I knew that I should do this, that I should save templates and not recreate the wheel for each client. But a lot of times it's hard to kind of take yourself out of the grind and actually create those processes. So now what I do is kind of a low-tech version, but I just have a folder that is for new clients. And then I've just saved a bunch of email templates, maybe 10 templates in there that are common things that I would email to a client. So there's one in there about, do you want to meet for coffee, and just have an informational interview. And then there's another one that's a follow-up to, the initial interview. And then once they hire me, there's a template that has how, the things I need from them, like the first steps. So what you can do for this, if you already have hired a client, you can just go back and kind of copy and paste all of your old emails and at least start creating that template. And yes, you might need to change it a little bit for each client, but at least that's going to be a good start. There are also a lot of programs that can do this for you. So this would be like a project management system or like a client management system maybe that has your client walk through all of these steps. So when they need to sign a contract, it automatically sends it to them. The third section is data entry. I have touched on this in other videos, so I'm not going to go super in depth, but as much as you can, automate the data that you're getting from your client. So maybe you're paying bills for your client. What's the very easiest way you can pay bills? Is your client willing to do an auto bill pay? So they're just, they're charged every month. Maybe you do invoicing for your client and you send out the same 5 invoices every single month. Well, you can set those up to reoccur automatically, or even if it's not the same amount, you can have QuickBooks create it and then you can tweak it a little bit and then send it. And we already talked about the rules in QuickBooks. If you're using that, then you're partially an expert in AI. All right, next one is bank reconciliations. So if you're like me, you might just kind of do reconciliations anytime you feel like it, or it's the first of the month and you're like, I should go check and see are the bank statements ready for my clients? If you wanted to automate this process a little more, you should take note. I would probably make an Excel document and I would list all of my clients and then the date that their bank statement comes out, because it can vary a little bit. And then so you can make sure you're prioritizing, who gets done in what order. Sometimes bank statements, their date, I don't know what you call it, the date it comes out is the 15th. So then that would kind of alter your workflow, right? So take note of when all those dates are, and then right after that date, you can reconcile it. And then in that same spreadsheet, I would take note of, is it a client where I have to go find the bank statement, or does QuickBooks upload it for me? A lot of the bigger banks now are automatically in QuickBooks, which I love. Or is it something you have to track down and get your client to send you? That can be a little bit more annoying. And also think through, is it a client that I'm reconciling every single month? Because maybe some of those smaller clients, you're just doing it quarterly. So anytime you can organize, automate these due dates and just get better processes and organization in place, that's going to help you a lot. And as business owners, you might have heard the term SOP, which is a standard operating procedure. And if you're just working for yourself, you might think, I don't need to take the time to write out my process in how I reconcile or in how I get a new client. But I would argue that it's actually going to help you out in the long run. One, it's going to cement the process in your mind and just help you feel organized. And then if you ever do hire anyone, you will be ready. So if you guys watched that long interview I had with Jaime Rodriguez, who's the CEO of Bookkeeper Launch, he talked about when he had his first hire when he was a bookkeeper, it was kind of a disaster. And the reason that he gave was because he wasn't organized in his processes. So it was really hard for him to integrate a new person working for him in this process that wasn't really clearly defined. And my husband is also a business owner, and he was saying the automation still requires behavior. He has a team of people that he needs to get their buy-in. So that's kind of the context he was talking about, that even if you have all these like fancy systems working for you, it still requires some discipline from you. And so I see that as another reason that you can create an SOP even if it's only you, because it's just going to serve as some accountability for you as a small business owner. And the next way we can automate our business is automating communication. So there are multiple people that we're trying to communicate with in our business, right? So we already talked about onboarding new clients. So we can have templates and emails set up for that, but you can also have it for your ongoing clients. So maybe if you have a price increase every 2 years, you can have a template set up for that. Or if you have a quarterly meeting with a client, just set those reminders now, like all at once. You can also have something like a Calendarly, I think it's called, system. A lot of people have these where people can book time with you and you don't actually have to be the one, looking at your calendar and doing all the manual work. So maybe you're doing a little bit of social media marketing. Maybe you are meeting people in real life and then following up with them. Maybe you have a little bit of an email list and you're communicating with potential clients and giving them valuable information that they can use so that they remember you as a good bookkeeper if they need to hire a bookkeeper. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you don't know me, I'm Morgan, and a thumbs up really helps me out a lot. Don't forget to check out my website, FinePoints.biz, and I will talk to you next week with another new video. Thanks.